Hi, and welcome to week number 8, otherwise known as Spring Break Eve. I'm just kidding. It's not, next week following is Spring Break, so I hope you're going to enjoy that time off. But this week we're going to cover chapters 10 and 11. Again, the same drill, your homework being due on Wednesday night on both those chapters, okay? So let's talk about chapters 10 and 11. You started looking at the present value concepts in chapter 9, and you're going to apply those to valuation, which is an important step in financial analysis. Let me stop for a moment and just say this is a really good time for you to have either a financial calculator or become familiar with some of the formulas in Excel, because you can use either one to help you get the work through the assignment. Um, and it really does save you a lot of time. So if you take a little time to figure out how to do that, it's just going to save you a ton of time down the, as you go through doing the homework and also with the test coming up. Okay, so our learning objectives for chapter 10 is where we're going to be learning about the valuation and the rates of return. You It's important to know that the valuation of a financial asset is based on the present value of its future cash flows. That base concept is applied to many different situations. So, learn that part of it well. You're going to be using it a lot. Um, Recognize that the required rate of return in valuing an asset is based on the risk involved. You can look at what the sources of risk are or what the definition of risk is. It helps understand what kind of rate of return is required. We're going to recall that bond valuation. You want to be able to recall that bond valuation is based on the process of determining the present value of interest payments plus the present value of the principal payment at maturity. You'll get a very specific application in this case of what we talked about in learning objective 1. Explain the basis for preferred stock valuation, a similar analysis being done there, and explain how stock valuation is determined. So all that's covered in chapter 10. This is very specific formulas, very specific approaches to it. I think once you understand what all the moving parts are, it's not too hard to do. But again, it's a lot easier to do if you have a financial calculator or you do this in Excel or the spreadsheet program Excel. If you have that, that's actually probably the easiest thing to do. Okay, let's move on to talk about chapter 11. This guy here. In this case, we're going to, in chapter 11, we're going to be talking about the cost of capital. Sorry, go. And so, again, these are very important financial decisions made um, through just, regular analysis of finances of companies. Recall that the most that cost of capital represents the weighted average cost of the source of financing to the firm, very specific operation. Understand that the cost of capital is normally the discount rate to use in analyzing an investment. So you actually calculate what that is. You're going to recognize that the cost of capital is based on the valuation techniques from the previous chapter as it's applied to bonds, preferred stock, and common stock. So again, these are kind of building blocks at this point. Explain how a firm attempts to find the minimum cost of capital through varying the mix of its sources of financing. And that's important to understand. That's really a key thing that financial people do within the firm. And recall that the cost of capital may eventually increase as larger amounts of financing are utilized. Um, no surprises there. Try to apply that to the city of Chicago as an example. So anyway, that's what we're going to cover in these two chapters. They're very important chapters. Take your time going through it, understand the formulas, understand the pieces that go into it. And again, it's really, really helpful if you have a financial calculator or use Excel. If you have any questions about what we're covering this week, don't hesitate to reach out and ask. Thanks, and good luck with this week's work.